Real Country 550 and 92.9 WAME and W225BD Statesville.
Welcome to Racing Roots with Hamm.
If you don't know our host, David Hamm, he's a 25-year NASCAR veteran, engine builder, and jackman.
Live every Monday evening, we have a new guest
From the racing world with their stories, their paths,
their racing roots.
Now here's our host, David Hamm.
And good evening. Welcome to Racing Roots with Hamm, right here on 550 AM, 92.9 FM, and DHammiam on YouTube. We're also streaming on Twitter, Twitch, LinkedIn, and what else, Bryson?
We're on all kinds of stuff. Let's see here. we're on 2 Facebooks and LinkedIn, Twitch, and Twitter, and then of course we're on YouTube. So all right, there you go. All kinds of places to watch Racing Roots tonight.
Thank you very much. I thought you were on mic 2 for some reason. I hit the number 2 button there.
It's okay, man. I'm on number 3.
We're all good, but you know what? We have the crew that if we get sidetracked, anything happens, these guys can get us back on track.
That's right.
Because we got the 6-pack crew, is what I was calling the show, the 6-pack crew. I thought that was kind of neat.
Yeah, it is.
Because basically the movie 6-pack come out in y'all's lateness. Because y'all were the youngest pit crew members probably ever, do you think?
Yes. Yeah, definitely it was because,
when we first started out.
Hold on. If you don't recognize the voices, I'm going to go ahead and introduce you right quick.
Yeah.
Sure.
We
got Clint Ballard. We got Stoney Ballard, and we got Joey Knuckles. Right, all 3 of the guys. And we didn't have Lees'a and Danny because they were sick.
Yeah, they're sick because of the flu and everything else going on. So they wish they can be here and telling everybody else thank you, and hope everybody's chiming in. I hope they can chime in and ask a couple of questions because they did want to be here.
Well, we'll miss them. But if they can watch us and they can tell us if they're telling the truth or not. Right.
Oh, there's going to be a lot of people chiming in on that one.
Oh, I'm sure. I can imagine so, yes. All right, so go ahead, Clint.
Okay, well, we first started out as extremely young. Dad left Houston, Texas with a NASCAR race car, and in 1971, he brought the car and won Rookie of the Year.
1971, yes. Awesome.
And we were 11, 12, 13 years old. Whatever, we at 11 or 12.
Actually, a little younger than that.
Well, I was the oldest.
I was just born. Yeah. I was born in January 21st, 1971. So just in time for the Daytona 500, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So when we started out, my father taught us that we began, cleaning off the workbenches.
Yeah.
Sweeping the floors, folding the rags, washing the parts.
Yes.
Scraping the gaskets. This is what started us to building a knowledge of how to treat a piece of equipment that would make that equipment perform.
So you learned it from the ground up, basically.
Exactly.
Yes.
Oh,
yeah. Oh, yeah. We were definitely from the ground up. It's like if Dad could teach us metallurgy, he probably would. Oh, yeah. It's like, if you can take this much lead and this much malleable materials and stuff like that, founder it. We need to make this ring gear and pinion so we can race at Talladega right now. And that's how he taught us.
Yeah.
We grew up real young, and there was no pool in our trailer park. So we ended up swimming out of a parts washer and did pretty damn good.
Yeah. Oh, we did a lot of swimming in that parts washer.
Yeah.
I remember when we used to cut our hands. I'm not sure if anybody remembers what Varsol is. It's parts washer solvent.
We lived in it.
And I'd cut my hand, or we'd cut our hands, and Dad said, put it in Varsol because it doesn't have any germs. He said, because germs can't live in grease. And I was like, okay, well, that made sense when I'm 9 years old.
Sure.
So I would cut my hand. He said, stick it in that parts washer. By the way, give me that bearing. So
it's kind of like alcohol, but toxic.
Yeah, pretty much.
Alcohol.
It's like, that's why I have 3 lungs right now. That's why I can breathe underwater without breathing. No, I'm just
amphibious.
Yeah. What Dad told me about the Varsol, when they came fresh to fill up into the Varsol thing, we took some transmission fluid and we poured it in to dilute.
Oh, okay.
elasticity of
because it'll dry your hands out.
Yeah, exactly. And if you put the transmission fluid in it, it would cut down the potency of those potent chemicals that would hurt you.
Oh, okay. That's a good idea.
You dilute it a little bit with something more that's non-dilutable.
Now, since we're talking about transmission fluid, you can put that stuff in the anti-seize too, and it'll kind of like rejuvenate the anti-seize.
Exactly. Yeah. See, that's what we used to do on lug nuts.
The what, transition?
No, when you put the lug nut, you put the antifreeze, anti-seize, and into the lug nut, and then we would put the transmission fluid on the anti-seize.
Oh, okay.
So that would whip the nuts on there that fast.
Make it more fluid.
And then once it moved, it locked.
Okay. I went to the racetrack for 7 years and never did any kind of lube on them.
Really?
Yeah.
That's why y'all ran in the back.
That's probably why.
That's why your guns were so hard trying to get them back off.
I was thinking that same thing.
Torque is a good thing.
And by the way, I just got a text from Danny Lawrence, Richard Childress Racing. So we've got a lot of those guys up there, looking at us with, that they grew up in around there. And, we remember Richard working out of a gas station, up there, a big independent racer. And what really helped Richard out is he had a friend that was out in Las Vegas that ran Circus. His name was Mel Larson.
Oh, Mel, yeah.
And
awesome guy.
What was really cool, and I'm going to throw a deal out there. Richard Childress and I are in his book. It's called Real Men Wear Pink. And it's a phenomenal novel about racing, how he helped us, because we would leave Riverside and go to Vegas, or Ontario and go to Vegas, and it was the NASCAR garage in the casino parking lot. And we were like curious, man. We wanted to get in, we just wanted to see what was going on. So Mel, he put a section over there with some slot machines over there and pulled the drapes and gave us 4 rolls of quarters and said, have at it.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Well, nice. I kept mine and brought them home. But these 2 kids over here, they went crazy over there. And I think they won some stuff over there. But
4-night stay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. That reminds me of Vegas Vacation whenever the young guy won.
Oh, Chevy Chase.
Yeah, he was actually too young to win.
Yeah, that was pretty much it. And came home with a lot more money than I told Mom and Dad I had. I was too young to gamble at the time, but it was a lot of fun.
That Mel Larson's knew Kyle Petty, and that's why. And Marty Robbins had car 42, and that's the reason why Kyle Petty put 42 on his race car.
Oh, okay.
And that's how he became 42.
Okay. How about that? Marty Robbins, number 42.
Yep. Yeah. And he always had the pink car. Marty Robbins was a good friend.
Taught Stoney how to play a guitar in the infield.
Oh,
he gives Stoney a guitar.
Well, he actually didn't give me my first guitar, but after we started talking about it, Marty Robbins got me my first amplifier.
Oh.
Because I started learning on a Fender Stratocaster, and we were at Nashville, and because Marty Robbins used to come over to the house when Dad would have parties and stuff like that.
Wow.
And I had this old K guitar, it's like a cheap guitar, and I was trying to learn how to play it and stuff like that. Marty sat down with me, and I got a picture of me and Marty Robbins. He was teaching me how to play "Fallen Angel," was his last greatest hit. And he actually had a copy of it, and he gave it to Mom and Dad. He only made 60 prints of the original print. So he gave it to Mom and Dad, and Dad still has it. But he told Mom, he said, this kid's really good. So we went to Nashville that year, and he got me, I said, Marty said, what kind of, or said Mr. Robbins, I had respect back then.
Yeah.
And I said, yeah, I don't have respect anymore. I'm too old for that. But I asked him what kind of amplifier. Would it be a Marshall? Would it be a Fender? He said, no, you definitely need to go with the Fender. This is not a plug-in for Fenders, or anything like that.
Yeah.
So he brought me my first tube amp to Nashville that day, and I've been playing ever since.
Wow.
He still has it today.
Yeah.
Nice.
So,
man, that's one of the things I always ask if my guest had a chance to work with Marty Robbins. I always want to hear the stories.
Oh yeah, Marty was he was super cool. He would sit there and spend time with you. He would, he'd help you with the cords, and then he would go back to working on the race car, and then he would be talking to family members. He was so personable that he always took every piece out of his life to spend time with you or just give you a couple of minutes of his time.
And I thought Mel Larson's was a lot like that too, as far as like dealing with the people who were grassroots in racing. He had so much free stuff. He let Mom and Dad, we had hotel rooms practically free, and when we got to Sears Point, Riverside.
Right.
And
well, he actually got to drive the car one year.
Yeah.
Because he actually painted it up Circus.
Yeah.
Because he wanted to sponsor the car for that one race, and he said, just let me have one lap around here. Almost wiped the car out. The guy could not drive. I apologize for that. But he said, I need to get out of this. It's too fast for me. These things are going left and right, and stuff like that. But, he had a great time of it. We became real good friends, off of that part of it.
And, he spotted all our rooms.
Yeah.
He took care of us real well out there in Vegas.
Very nice.
Real perfect. He's a perfect person.
You could tell by the clothes we wore when we went back to school.
Oh, we didn't have holes in the jeans.
This is hilarious. We went to a clothing store before we went back to school, and this is like Vegas clothes. I mean, I was like the nylon.
Yeah, that's back when they had the pastels and the long...
and it was like all the nylon...
the wings or whatever you call it, because you used to wear that stuff, I didn't.
And we came back to school wearing all this stuff. And nobody ever thought we came from outer space.
It was like Saturday Night. What's that movie, Saturday Night, with John Travolta?
Fever.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Saturday Night Fever. That was it.
We were Saturday Night Fever for a long time.
Walking down with high heel shoes and stuff. And I was like,
I got an invitation to go on Soul Train with my stuff.
Oh my gosh.
You should have seen Joey's hair back then.
Oh, yeah.
Was that when you had curly hair?
We about burned the motel down in Richmond.
Yeah.
That was in Daytona.
No, it was Richmond. No, it was Richmond.
No, it was Daytona at the Hawaiian Inn.
Well, that's twice.
Oh, okay. So we were talking about a different
They
side.
tried to kill me twice.
Oh gosh.
The first time. Anyway, let's.
Well, we should probably go back to talk about where y'all actually grew up and all that kind of stuff, so we can start from the beginning. But first, don't you want to say some shout outs?
Oh yeah, I'd love to say some shout outs. First off, I want to shout out to my fiance Jerry Ann. Who's back. She's the one that puts up with me.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And second of all, I want to give a shout out. I work at a high school automotive teacher at Parish Community High School. And I'd love to give a shout out to all, they're like family members to me. I wish they can all be here. But Craig, Melissa, Paul, Jillian, Chris. I know I'm going to forget a couple of them, but they're like, I've been through some bad times. They go through some bad times. We all always come together. And it's like, it takes a large community like this to teach one student. Now I'm in the CTE program, which is a career technology education, because a lot of these students aren't going to college, so I need to give them a career, and we work together to get them into the field. And the next shout out I want to give to is for Gettle of Florida, Georgia. They have 19 dealerships there. We just became partnerships with them. Fred Bartholomew, he actually stepped in and got us a bunch of engines, transmissions, rear ends they're crate engines. They've blown up or they did whatever. I don't want to know what happened to them, but I'm going to let my students find out, and you tell me what happened to them.
Yeah.
And they're all excited about that because, it's, like Mike Rowe says, if you're not going to go to college, I love Mike Rowe. I watch all of his stuff. Hey, shout out to you, Mike. But he's exactly right, because everybody can't afford to do anything like that. But if righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, God bless your heart, bring it on in. I'll put you to the next level.
Yeah, very good. So that's
your phone.
So I just had a text from Mike Rowe. He said, "Thank you very much." That might be him calling there.
Yeah, probably is.
Yes. is. He's tuned in too, by the way. All right.
Sorry about that, folks. I just wanted to give a shout out and shout out to all my friends. Yeah. Bill Wiedemann, Frank, everybody that's watching the podcast. These are personal friends of mine. Because if you don't have your friends, if you don't find yourself in a good friendship with a bunch of people or the group that you need to be with, you're wasting your time.
You can't build volume in your life.
So,
well, that's a good point there, and I think y'all probably learned that really early on.
Yeah, oh yes, we did. Because when we grew up, we were so young. We were actually working with people that were 14 or 3-5 times our age.
Oh yeah.
And we were talking the same communication that they were. And then once they realized that we knew what we were talking about, there's a lot of times that they would come and ask us questions. And the questions that we would give them wasn't to deter them, but it was to help them. In NASCAR, everybody helped each other out. We were a big family. We still are a big family.
Yeah.
That's like, this is my family right now. And I've known these cats for, I ain't going to say 40, 50 years, but it's pushing it.
It's pushing it, yeah.
But I know he has my back. I know he has my back. I have your back, everybody's back. But when it gets down to when they drop the green flag, okay, well, you're on your own. So what happens in between, that's not our problem. You get back on pit road, if you see somebody else fail, then we would help them out. There's been plenty of times we've been on pit road, somebody would lose a tire, a jackman would fall or something like that. Your car's already over. You go out there and you help them get back onto the track. There's been plenty of times that we've helped other teams out and, help them succeed. So once you're on the track, that's not my problem. That's when we get to watch the show. Yeah. But on pit road or before pit road or when everything else has happened, it's like, hey, are you hungry? Can I make you a bologna sandwich? Yeah.
There's been several times to where, in our travels, the teams didn't have enough people to pit the car. Yeah. So we would kind of choose pits with like Elmo, David Sisko, Sterling Marlin's Dead Cuckoo. Yeah. We would pit 4 cars. Yeah. Whoever was running ahead is what we would do, and we would go up there and
Ed agree.
Yeah, Ed agree. I mean, we were, we were kind of on the other side of the garage. Every week we would try to go somewhere and have some help with motel rooms, somebody to pay some tires for us or whatever, and we fed ourselves off the finishes.
Yeah, exactly.
That and TV money.
The TV money, yeah.
Yeah, got to love that TV money.
Yeah.
But it's like when you're talking about the 6-pack, when growing up and stuff like that, where we're so young, and then we, met everybody else that was so much older than us, we had to up our game to be at their level. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah.
So we had to grow up real quick.
Sure, definitely.
And it's like if you can't get to that level, you're gonna be losing it. So we had to grow up real quick.
And also, you probably built a lot of character by the older guys around there.
Oh yeah, like Robert G.
Yeah, getting on you and stuff.
I used to love Robert G. and Tom Stone, Pete Stone and stuff like that. When Robert G. was working on the race cars, some of Dad's race cars, Robert G. would always have this cigarette and had this, I don't know, the cigarette ash about this long, and he'd never lose it. Yeah. And he would say, Stoney, what color do you think we ought to paint this one? I said, Robert, paint it flat black. And he would laugh so hard, and that thing would fall to the floor.
Robert G. He was also, he was Dale Earnhardt's mom's. Wait a minute.
No.
How was he related?
No.
No, he was related to the cousin, or they were related somehow.
Yeah.
Dale Earnhardt married Robert G's daughter.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is Kelly Dale Jr.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and we watched them grow up because we would spend a lot of time over there at his shop repairing things and what have you. He had a little 2-bedroom house with a cinder block building behind it, and worked for Mr. Hyde during the day. or Mr. Hendrick, he had him a dirt car. He'd run Haywood Piler on Friday nights at Metrolina. If they had anything left, they'd go to Concord on Saturday night.
And that's about that.
Yeah, always busy.
Sure.
Yeah,
let's take a quick break, and then we're going to come right back, and I'm going to turn the camera over to Bryson, and he can tell us if we got any comments or questions on our feed here. We'll be right back to Racing Roots with Hamm.
Home, family, time. If faced with a serious illness, what would be most important to you? Hospice and Palliative Care of Iredell County can help you and your family focus on what is most important when dealing with a serious illness. As the only 5-star hospice agency in our area, Hospice and Palliative Care of Iredell cares for patients in Iredell and the surrounding communities, offering in-home hospice and palliative care, inpatient hospice care, bereavement support, and rainbow kits. If you are dealing with or caring for someone with a serious illness, call us today. We are here to listen. 704-873-4719.
Next time you need a plumber, make sure you give Halls a call. Halls Plumbing is known for excellent customer service and professional workmanship in providing all your plumbing needs, including drain cleaning, drain camera inspections, and water heater replacement. They also install well pumps, repair gas lines, clean sewers, and much more. Rest assured, all your needs will be handled when you call 704-878-0039. Hall's Plumbing. They're the good guys your friend told you about.
This is Richard Coleman with Dynamic Landscape Services. With more people working from home, our homes have also become our business fronts. Dynamic Landscape Services is your one-stop service for all of your landscape maintenance needs. From weekly mowing and trimming services, as well as weed control and fertilization programs, we can also take care of all of your pine needle, mulch installations, shrub trimming, irrigation maintenance and repairs, and all of your landscape lighting needs. So please give us a call at 704-660-9802. Again, that number is 704-660-9802. Thank you for the opportunity of your business, and God bless.
Aging happens, but aging can happen gracefully and safely. There are many factors to consider and questions to ask concerning your loved one's ability to remain at home. Journeys Assisted Living can help answer those questions and provide peace of mind for you and your loved one. With our welcoming environment, knowledgeable staff, and inviting and lively activity programming, Journeys Assisted Living gives our residents the home they deserve with the care they need, allowing you to focus on making memories with your loved one. Let us help answer your questions. Stop by Journeys Assisted Living today and learn how we can be a partner in the aging solution. Call us at 704-878-0046 for a free consultation or to schedule a tour.
And we're back to Racing Roots with Hamm, and we got the 6-pack crew in here with us this evening. We got Stoney Ballard, Clint Ballard, and Joey Knuckles, and Lees'a and Danny weren't able to be with us this evening because they had a little bit of a cold or something going around, so they didn't want to spread that.
Okay. Well, we start out with the characters in the movie. Lees'a would have been Breezy. Little Harry would have been Danny. Swifty, that was me. 100.
You were the potty mouth, Swifty.
Yeah, the washed up chicken egg. Anyway, Doc, Stoney, Robbie, Track, and Joey was all around support and for everything that all the rest of us did. So shout out for that.
Back then, that was a pit crew leader. Yeah. If you watch a movie.
A lot of the pieces in the movie that I saw earlier today, I've rewatched the movie, and so much of some small stuff permeated to the top of our lives. When we were young, we were doing these things, and it took several years for the stories to gravitate to a movie atmosphere or somebody to write it. The things that did take place, and there were many in the movie, that it's hard. It's kind of hard to say because I'm not, so I'm not some kind of actor. I
can't do any
actor, anything like this.
Should I let the cat out of the bag on who's going to call in too? Because your character is going to call in tonight.
Hey,
okay.
Swifty.
Yes, Swifty is.
Yes.
So I have a soulmate out there somewhere.
Yes.
Yeah, you got a doppelganger.
Oh, a doppelganger.
So we'll see. That's who the caller's going to be, and so we're gonna compare stories, I guess. Robbie Steele is his name.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Great.
So it'll be pretty cool. I better let you know ahead of time.
Yeah,
well, that's cool. I need to ask Robbie a couple of questions.
Yeah.
There was a thing at the beginning of the movie where Kenny Rogers came in, went to the bathroom, and then he had to break out of the window because they locked him into the bathroom. Came out, and the car was stripped. And I looked at that car and I says, yeah, he's Stoney and Danny. Joey, we could strip that car that fast.
Oh, yeah.
We could have that car down. We could strip it out.
That wouldn't be a problem.
It'd be gone.
Yeah.
There'd be no problem with that. Let's see,
So he got locked in the bathroom, and then by the time he came out, the car was stripped off, and then
I looked at it and says, he goes, how in the world? And I'm like,
there's a lot of comparisons how we grew up, and how me, Clint, Danny, Joey, Robbie, and everybody grew up, because it's like, I'm not sure if everybody knows, but Dad actually, how do you say that? Dad actually adopted us. Me, Clint, Danny, and Lees'a were with Mom, and we had no father. My dad actually picked it up.
This is
something
we don't ever share.
Yeah, well, no, it's time to be shared. So, so we were all adopted by Dad, by choice. And Dad taught us. We didn't know anything. We were so young and everything like that. And Dad used to have a shop in Houston. Mom used to work at the Shalimar Lounge, a bar right there. Dad would get off of work and go, meet Mom or just have a couple of drinks. Mm-hmm. And Dad walked in there one time and says, "Hey, do you want to marry me or you want to go on a date?"
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And that was pretty well it.
That quick.
No,
and Mom said, "Listen, you have to understand. I have 4 children." Yeah. And Dad said,
"It's okay. I got
okay."
3.
He said, "Okay." Well, he said, "Okay, I've got 3."
Wow. Brady family. Brady bunch.
They 3 days later they were married.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. So after that short, whatever that was going on, Dad picked us all up. We moved to Beverly, started working on cars, and Dad sat down and took his time. He had a lot of struggle with 4 different kids. But he taught each and every one of us, like he taught Danny how to do transmissions perfectly, Clint how to do suspension and rear ends, taught me how to do motors. But we had to learn each other's job at the same time, so we know how to do everything, but we can only do one job perfect that he taught us. Yeah. But we can fill in, like if Clint got sick or broke an arm or something like that, I can set up suspension, but not as good as he can. Danny can do transmissions and engines, but not as good as Clint can.
So I'm going to tell you one thing about Dad that was really amazing to me. We were at Talladega, and Dad asked me to pull the gear out of it. So I'm, like 15 years old. I pull the rear end out, drop the U-clamps up, drop the drive shaft out, pull the rear end out, set it up on there, put it up on the bench, tightened up the clamp, and I held it up there, took a nut, pulled the yoke off, and started taking the caps off. And a guy from Petty's crew walked over and asked me what I was doing. I said, "Well, we're tearing this rear end down." And he didn't believe that, because back then they bought their rear ends. There were 9-inch forward rear ends. Mm-hmm. They bought their rear ends from the factory. So if they want to do a 325 or a 427, a 425, whatever gear ratio that they wanted, they usually got it from the dealer or from the factory. So Dad walked up there, popped the caps off. Of course you ping them so you know which side left and right is. You slide that off there. You unbolt the ring gear, slide out the pinion, and he had pinions and ring gears and reset up from like a 425 to a 327 or 320, or 373.
Yeah,
whatever ring gear ratio he wanted, depending on the horsepower and the torque that he had the motor made for. If the motor was not torquing the way it should, then he had to get some more length on the gear, and vice versa. So when he started doing that, it was amazing to me to watch the number of mechanics in NASCAR walk around and stand there and watch him build that rear end. And then put the rag around there, put the gauge in there,
put your preload on it.
Put the preload of 12 thousandths drag on it, do the preload there, and it would just kind of like blow their minds that somebody was standing there building the gear to do what they needed to do at Talladega.
That's why Joey still does it.
Exactly right. Exactly right. He is the best.
Yeah.
That right
he
there
learned
is the
from the best because he is the best.
No
he learned from the best.
Joey's definitely the best on that. So he's hands down.
Sure.
Well, I'll tell you while we're talking about this particular race, Walter led at least 40 laps of that particular race, and that was phenomenal. That was really big for our little small team.
Sure. Yeah.
Can I say something about that same race? We didn't have any tires. We had 3 sets of tires, and Dad would lead coming out of 3. In the
right there before the scoring stand. I remember that.
The scoring stand, if I can describe this to you, is split in half. The car owners' wives would be on the left-hand side facing the racetrack. The other people who were scoring, because Morris Metcalf had it divided so that they could match one side to the other.
For the counters.
So
you couldn't. One clock had to match the other clock.
If your time on this side didn't match the time on this side, there'd be a problem. So that way nobody could cheat.
Right.
So they would match the times up. So Dad would come down out of 3 into 4, lead the race. Mom could put the time down. We led the race.
Then he'd back off.
Back off the gas.
Pearson and Petty and everybody like that go by.
They would blow right by him. Like Matt, he'd have to get off the gas. We didn't have tires.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
Dad would actually get back, and he was sitting there hammering the throttle down, coming through 3 and 4, and pass them.
Yeah.
So he would be in the lead, but then he would back off again and save his tires.
We would take those tires off. We'd cool them down with water. We'd hit the water hose on, cool them down, reset them up, and put those same tires back on that car.
How about that? Without him knowing, or just
no. That's all we had. When somebody
you.
fell out of the race, then we would go down there and make a deal with them, try to buy their tires.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Vultures.
Yeah. And then you probably had some that give you tires every once in a while, I'm assuming.
Yeah, well, yeah. It's like 6-pack, except we didn't steal them. We actually negotiated it.
Yes.
We do something for them too. So it's like, when Darrell Waltrip was running for Rookie of the Year, we took our motor. He couldn't qualify. We took our motor out of the car. Me, Stoney, and Danny took our motor out of the car and put it in Darrell Waltrip's car, and he qualified.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Him and Stevie were real good friends with Mom and Dad. They really were. So they helped him. They helped him get to become Rookie of the Year that year.
Okay. Yeah. 1971, the year I was born.
Yep.
All right.
No, I'm talking about Darrell Waltrip got to be Rookie of the Year.
Oh, Darrell Waltrip.
Darrell Waltrip became Rookie of the Year.
Oh, okay.
Because of some of the things that Walter, my dad, and
our
crews did.
Yeah, you helped him later on.
We helped him.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, that was later on, and Darrell, got this nice sponsorship and everything like that, but his car wouldn't run right, so Dad would come over and check it out for him.
Wasn't as fast as...
Yeah, they had the pistons in upside down, where the release were hitting the top of the pistons.
Oh, okay.
And Dad said, you can't go there from here, so we pulled the motor out, and Dad actually overhauled the motor for him on the back of a pickup truck.
Wow.
And, back in the garage back then at 5 o'clock, all the... everybody would come through and say, the garage is closed for the day. Lay your tools down and go home. And that was it. So what you had to overhaul and everything, you had to take it on the back of a truck or whatever you had. And I remember Mom and Dad overhauling engines in the bathtub at the hotel. Hotel didn't like us, but we got the engine running. Everybody had to pick it up
me and Joey
take
know
it back
about
out.
that because me and Joey tore them down.
Oh my goodness!
And brought all the parts back to the hotel.
Oh my goodness! Yeah.
We pull the heads off. And
there was a video, or unless I was imagining it when you told me that, but I thought I saw. No, they did have a video of somebody doing that in the hotel room building it.
Yeah, that would have been part of the six-pack crew. But we had there's so many things sitting there to talk about, doing stuff like that. But it's like it goes back to where we're helping each other out. And Darrell Waltrip, seen him a couple of years ago when at Tennessee, and he still says to this day. I was in Tennessee when I seen him, but he still remembers the story, and he told it to me and my fiance. He said, I was sitting there talking to your mom. Mom was beautiful, still is. But he said he was over there talking to her, flirting with Mom. This is Darrell, love Darrell to death. When Dad walked over to him, he says, hey, if you want that, you're going to have to take all this with you.
Nope.
And Darrell said, nope, I'm good. Yeah. They were always good friends.
Yeah.
But
Stevie was beautiful.
Yeah, she was.
Oh, yeah.
You remember Stevie?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, sure do.
She was redheaded, beautiful girl,
Yeah.
beautiful woman.
Yeah.
Their pet, I've just done this, and you know what their pet was? They had a pet raccoon.
Yeah. A raccoon?
Yeah, they had a pet raccoon.
Oh, I didn't know that.
They had a pet raccoon. They brought to Nashville.
Yes.
But, yeah.
Well, I was always a Walter fan, and mostly because my dad was. I mean, I started out David Pearson, and then Kelly Yarborough, and then Darrell Waltrip.
Darrell Waltrip was the one that handed me my Mechanic of the Year award in 1977. He won the championship.
Wow. Okay.
And
that's right. Both of y'all have won the awards.
They called me up there and I had no idea I was going to win Mechanic of the Year.
So Clint had this. He had kind of like the parrot luck in a way. It seems like with some of the wins, some of the big races wins and stuff. With being on a crew.
I was very fortunate with being some fantastic people.
Mm-hmm.
I really, I really wanted to do one thing, and that was get the car into the position to win one lap. And that was the last one.
The last lap, yeah. Right.
That's
hey,
what
Ricky
I spent
Bobby,
my life.
If you ain't first, you're last.
You ain't first, you're last.
Rock on.
That's right. I'm going to send. Well, anyway, you were with Sterling Marlin, right?
Yes,
whenever he won.
Back-to-back Daytona 500s.
Yeah. Okay. And that was 94, 95.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And were you there when Ernie won?
Yes, I won Ernie's race with him.
Okay.
Yeah, it's his first win. I won first of all, I won the Bristol race with him, and I went up there and worked on that car and helped him build that car, and we won his first race.
Mm-hmm.
That we were never out of top three all night long. We pitted that car in the top three all night.
Wow. How about that? See, and I only knew you as a tire changer back in the day, and because I remember seeing you at the not Stock Car Cafe, but it was the Sandwich Construction Company.
Oh yeah, wow, that's a long time ago.
Yeah, I remember going there, and he would be there. He'd have on his Kodak shirt, the race day uniform, and he'd be drinking and singing.
John Boy Billy was there, and John Boy Billy used to go there all the time. Yeah. And I told him, I work with Ernie Irvin. So I called. So he said, let's see Ernie. So I went over to the telephone and I grabbed the phone and I called Larry McClure. And I said, Larry, is Ernie anywhere around? He said, yeah, he's here right here. And I said, John Boy, here, here, grab this phone right here. John Boy, whatever, got on that phone.
That's when John Boy got on the phone and said, hey, big man, let me hold $1.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I remember that very well. And, you did say Danny Lawrence was tuned in, right? Earlier.
Yes, he sent me a picture. It said we all look good.
Good.
So, he's been on your show before.
Danny Lawrence?
Yes.
I've had Eddie Lanier and okay.
He's a fan of yours. So
hey, Danny, thanks for tuning in.
He sent me this deal on my phone. Yeah.
If you hadn't been on my show, I'd like for you to come on the show.
Danny is.
Yes, for sure.
He is one
legend.
One cool dude. He's sat there and evolved through wins, championships, tragedies, and he's always smiling. Just always there for us,
Yeah.
Always got to keep it up.
Very cool. It's amazing how many guys we work with through the years that are just, you know, and when you work with them at the time, you're like, you think back now, 20 years later, it's like, man, that guy's like a living legend.
Yeah,
right
it's
now,
like, you know, sometimes you take it for granted when you're in the moment.
That's it.
Yeah, because everybody's trying to do their stuff. Like I said, you know, on pit road, we're all a family. On the track, you know, you're on your own. When you get back to pit road, we're all family again. We have one job to do, and that's to win.
That's right. And I got to keep an eye on this red light here. I don't think I missed the call.
Okay.
Anyway, go for it.
Can I say something about a story with me and Joey back in 1970?
Wait, which one? I'm not going to listen to this one.
Is this a true story?
Yes, me and Joey, we was at Daytona. We couldn't get in the garage area. So we had the old station wagon. 1971, that Dad didn't get a regular car, he got a station wagon. So me and Joey was out there pretending to change tires. We're in the dirt, and we're sitting down there in the dirt at the entrance for the garage area, and we're pretending like we're playing, taking tires off. David Pearson walks out the garage, and he walks by us. He looks down at us and goes, "There's 5 Ludlets on that thing, not 4."
Oh.
And then Mom came out of the trailer and took a picture of me and him with David Pearson.
Yeah, I got
that was awesome.
I bet, yeah.
That was awesome. He said, "There's 5 Nuggets on
Like he was one of my, he was my very first favorite driver.
Yeah, Glenwood and Leonard Wood. Leonard Wood was my hero.
Yeah.
I seen him change one tire one time. He came around, and I was walking through and his thumbnail got hung up when he was pulling off, and it ripped his thumbnail off.
Ow.
He didn't slow down.
He didn't
stop. He didn't slow down. He didn't stop. I said, "That's my hero right there." Yeah. I mean, it was my hero for years. I mean, he's the reason why I changed tires. He's one of the main reasons why I wanted to change tires. Because somebody be that tough. Because you can be that damn tough. You can do anything.
It's like when we were growing up and stuff, you know, with getting back to the 6-pack part of it, you know, is, you know, not really stealing parts. But Hunter's Wrecker, you know, Tommy Hunter and his family really helped us out off of David Cox Road, because Dad would actually make his A-frames, saw them in half, make it for a super speedway or a short track. So the Hunters, they would let us go through their whole lot out there. And me, Clint, Danny, Joey, Robbie, you know, we'd all go with all our tools, and Dad would say, "I need A-frames off of this one. I need the A-frames off of this one." And we would start taking the tires off, jack it up, and we would strip everything down and take it down to Dad, you know, take it back to the shop. You know, we were 13 years old at the time. And I remember Dad sawing these things in half, and we called him Zebra for about a week, because he would be out there with a stick welder getting ready for Talladega or whatever, and welding these frames back together to what his caster camber, you know, and, you know, he could set his toe up with his tie rods, but he would set all this stuff up. And it'd be in the middle of the day, hot. He would have no shirt on. He would get up, and the radiant heat from the welding, he would stand up, and he would look like a zebra going all the way across.
Have a tan,
yeah. So we would have to take the parts off, you know, which that's a big part of the movie, but we'd have to modify everything to make it work, and it always worked. And back then, you know, instead of having a speed balancer, you know, we'd have to pull the inner liners out and everything like that for safety reasons.
Did you ever pull the inner line out?
Yeah.
The inner liners?
Yes.
I used to mount and balance.
Yeah.
So you had to reach your hand in the back side of it, clean that thing over, and peel that thing out?
Oh, yeah.
So we used to have to do that instead of, we didn't have a balancer, a speed balancer, so we'd have a bubble balancer.
Yeah, we bubble balanced everything.
Dad taught us how to bubble balance to get so accurate that this car can do 240 miles an hour at Talladega, and you had no vibration, because when you pick up a vibration on your tire, the first thing that thing is going to do is find the weakest link in your A-frame, your suspension, your springs, and it's going to throw the whole calibration off. So you had to be perfect. And then when you have, you know, 4 sets of tires, every one of them had to be accurate.
Sure.
So that was a lot of fun. And if you did it wrong, that was not fun.
Oh, I'm going to guarantee you it wouldn't be fun. Yes. Bryson, you want to see if you've got some comments over here?
Yeah, we got a couple. Yeah, we got a couple over here that we'll go through. Let's see. On StreamYard, we've got Becky Courtney says hello. Mike Bumgarner says great bunch there. Greg Gold's tuned in.
Oh, Mike.
And that is all on the StreamYard. So that's Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and LinkedIn. Then on YouTube, there are several people tuned in. It's Dickie Dennis is tuned in. Christy Clark says, we're so proud of Mr. Ballard here in Manatee.
Oh.
So that's Christy Clark. Jenna Trevison is tuned in from Florida. Larry Lackey says it should be a great show with these three. And Will Cronkright wants to know if anybody here knows how to change a tire. So, and then James S. says good evening. And Will Cronkright says, I already mentioned Will. And Kit Rodriguez is tuned in. And Robert Surt says, hey, Joey Knuckles and them other two troublemakers. So I think I covered everybody. That's a lot of people there. So
Hey,
there you go.
If you want to know if we can change the tire, just go to the film.
Oh, okay. And then speaking of that, y'all were the so you can tell us about the picker competition.
Oh,
very first
Rockingham.
one. Yeah.
Yeah.
I started at 16 years old, and I got picture competitions plaques going back to 1977.
77.
Yeah.
Yeah, when we first actually when was it Joe Gazaway? No, Joe. Yeah, it was
Joe and Bill.
Yeah,
They were
Joe and
brothers.
Bill, because we were so young to get over pit wall, because you had to be a certain age. We were under that age. So Dad said, okay, well, if they can't, they have to work for me. So if they can't get over pit wall, you know, how can we correct this? Mm-hmm. And Dad talked them into starting doing the pit crew races. And so we all entered into the pit crew races. And Dad said, if we can beat these guys, then can we get on pit road? So we ended up finishing, I think, 6th that year.
Yeah, we finished 6th the first year.
No penalties.
Yeah. But Dad said, okay, well, there's 44 other guys, 44 other crews in this race. He said, if they can do this at this age, do you think these grown men, can they compete with them? And they look at it as like, that's a venue that we can make money off of.
Yeah.
So, you know, let's start doing the pit crew race, pit crew competition. So we went out there and we showed that we had what it's got to take care of, we were doing everything safe. We were doing it fast. We were doing it faster than all these other crews. Yeah. Why can't we be allowed? Yeah. And as far as I know, we're the only crew that was allowed to go over pit wall. Everybody else had to be a certain age, but we proved ourselves at that time, and I think that has a lot to do with the the 6-pack.
Joe was 15.
Sure.
Yeah, because we proved ourselves, uncontrollably, with everybody else.
We've been doing it. Dad would take me and Joey out there and pull the race car out there, and me and Joey would go out there, and Dad say, if y'all could beat me, you could change tires.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how
it took a minute.
It took a little bit.
It took a little bit, but
we were so
I was
small, and the tires were so heavy and big. I mean, that was.
But that's how Jeff Hammond actually got his start in NASCAR, is because of our shop on Victoria Avenue.
He lived at
Dad actually built us a pit wall so we can practice, and Jeff and his dad came out there to pour concrete for us, poured a concrete slab.
He worked at a volunteer fire department in Derrida.
Oh, okay.
Dad ended up hiring him to drive the truck.
Yeah.
For the race car.
Jeff said, after they laid the concrete, but his father used to pour concrete, and Jeff would, help him. Yeah. So, and Jeff was like, wow, this is a NASCAR. And he, all starry eyes and stuff like that. And Dad's like, you want a job?
Yeah.
How about that?
We need somebody to drive a truck.
He had
Kids are too sweet.
He had his license. We didn't.
Yeah.
And then after that, that's when he went to Waltrip, and everything, was history for him. Mm-hmm. Great person. He's like another brother of mine.
He's within listening distance of this radio station too.
Oh, is he?
Well, I hope he's listening.
Right out near me.
Because I want to thank him for one thing. Because at Dover, one year when I was working for Morgan McClure, and we had messed up a camshaft broke. Sterling Moreland was driving. About 5 or 6 laps in, 10 or 15 by the time we got through, his rear tire changer didn't make it to the racetrack. So he came down and asked me if I'd change tires for him.
Oh, that one you was with Kodak?
Yeah, it was Kodak.
Okay.
I was with Kodak. And then I said, well, yeah, I will, but I got to have a ride home because these guys are going to go. Mm-hmm. And he called Waltrip on the thing. He said, "Yeah, Clint can fly home in my plane." So I went down there, changed tires. I started clocking the car, and this is after we had left Davey, and Davey was still, running. So I started clocking. I said, "Well, hey, we're running as fast as Davey is. We can," he's leading the race. So we pitted it up to that point, and on the last few laps, he ended up getting Davey on the backstretch. Pocono's got a long, slick backstretch, and he got a run off of him, and we ended up winning the race. And I said, "You want me to change the shirts? I got my yellow Kodak shirt on. They're in their black Western Auto shirts, all in there." He says, "No, man, no conflict of interest. Come on in." So we went to Victory Lane, and I got a picture taken with my Kodak on, and Kodak loved that. They saw that picture, and me and my Kodak yellow against all that black Western Auto stuff. And after that, that was a
great story.
But I love Jeff. He's been awesome to me. He was at Mama's funeral, and he's been a great friend for a long time.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
definitely
solid.
That's cool. Yeah, he frequents I see him every once in a while.
Yeah,
because he's basically my neighbor, kind of, sort of through the woods.
Kind of, sort of, maybe.
Yeah,
somewhere around there.
I've been over to his house. Yeah. He's got He's got his own rodeo there on his property.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yep, sponsored and everything. I mean, he's got like John Deere sponsored, and gives out prizes.
That's great.
Whole deal.
That's great.
Glad for him. He deserves it.
Oh yeah.
So let's take another quick break, and this will be the last break for the evening, and we'll be right back to Racing Roots with Hamm. We got Stoney Ballard, Clint Ballard, and Joey Knuckles in with us, the six-pack kids, the six-pack crew, let's say.
20,000 students. Iredell Statesville schools rank among the 20 largest school districts in North Carolina. Our teachers represent a wealth of knowledge, with the average teacher in our district having 15 years of teaching experience. Iredell Statesville Schools' innovative approach blends a one-to-one technology initiative with collaborative best practices and a hands-on approach to learning. In addition to traditional school settings, the district provides a wide range of exciting educational opportunities through our choice programs, specifically designed for unique student needs. No matter your age, your background, or your personal goals, there's a place for you in the Iredell Statesville Schools.
Hey y'all, it's time to get serious about cooking for the holidays, Thanksgiving and Christmas, and it's hard to find them turkeys at a reasonable price. Hams at a reasonable price is crazy, so I'm going to tell you what to do. Go by Randy's Barbecue, call him up, or go by and order yourself a delicious Boston butt or a pork shoulder, and Randy's will cook them up for you ready for the holidays. So get that order in right away. Call at 704-873-4444, 873-4444, or stop by the Statesville or Troutman location, and let's have barbecue for the holidays. Next time you need a plumber, make sure you give Halls a call. Halls Plumbing is known for excellent customer service and professional workmanship in providing all your plumbing needs, including drain cleaning, drain camera inspections, and water heater replacement. They also install well pumps, repair gas lines, clean sewers, and much more. Rest assured, all your needs will be handled when you call 704-878-0039. Hall's Plumbing. They're the good guys your friend told you about. Your stomach is growling, and you're about to have a snack attack.
Real Country 550 and 92.9 WAME.
All right, and we're back to Racing Roots with Hamm. And this evening we've got the six-pack crew, Stoney Ballard, Clint Ballard, and Joey Knuckles. And Danny and Lees'a couldn't be with us this evening due to a little bit of sickness. But we're thinking about them and wishing they were here. And hopefully they're tuned in. And because I'm sure they got more stuff to add to the stories, but
Oh yes,
but
Definitely.
we're getting I think we're getting all the truth out of all this though, because y'all three got each other to keep each other on the straight and narrow.
We got so many stories to tell, and I wish we had more time. But
I've had Joey on the show a couple of times, if you didn't know that.
Yes.
One time was a call-in. It was when I first moved in here to this new studio, because I used to be down the street.
Right.
Moved in here, I guess, 2 years ago, and then Joey did a call-in, and then the other time he came in.
And Stoney actually called a couple times and was asking questions on that. Yeah.
And so for some reason I didn't remember that.
Yeah, no, I just love the show so much. I don't have anything else to do except for to aggravate people.
Yes.
Highly successful.
Yeah, man. He's Stoney's kids, Stoney's got his
man,
high
I
school
love
down
my
there.
kids. I love all my students, and it's like,
Good stuff.
if I don't know what I would be doing without them. I've got 220 students, and I get to see them on a weekly basis. And if I could teach them one thing, it's how to be safe.
How to be safe.
And I said, you walk into my classroom with 10 toes and 10 fingers, you're going to walk out with 10 toes and 10 fingers.
Yes.
And then I'll show them something dangerous to do, and I said, don't try this at home.
And by the way, sign this, what do you call these forms?
Here's the release form. Now, I have to sign the release, but I'm in charge of all of them. But I love each and every one of my students. So
that's awesome.
Too many different personalities. And then, like you're talking about six-pack, how Dad raised us and how he taught us and stuff. How to do it right, how to do it properly, how to get it accurate. And I see that in each an individual one on a weekly basis. And I love to pass on what my dad taught me, because I still have 10 toes until 10 fingers.
Yeah.
But I love them to death.
Well, I know we've given them advice on here before about what to do and what, stay in school and do the best you can at everything that you do, and also follow your passion, follow your dreams, and you can do it.
Exactly.
It's one of the biggest things.
Main thing is you graduate, your life will be taken care of for, after that. If I get you graduate, that's our main goal.
That is the one thing that cannot be taken or stolen from you is that degree.
Exactly. So you've earned that, you've done it, nobody gave it to you.
That's right.
I can give you a D, I can give you an F or whatever, but if you earn that graduation, you need to make the A and the B. I try to get everybody up to a 3.0. Whatever they do, whatever their classes, if they need help or with English, math, or anything like that, I'll stop what I'm doing, talk to their, teacher at the time. If there's a conflict of interest, I have no problem with talking to my administration, helping the students out and say, okay, we have a situation, we have a problem. Same way with the car. Okay, I can't get this set up right. Okay, the same way with the student. I can't get this set up right. So then help me get my setup right so I can get this on the track and we can qualify. And that's what it's all about, get these kids graduated, have them good jobs. One of my students from last year, he actually went to, I don't want to say the personnel, but he works for the state now. He graduated at 18. They didn't hire until he was 21. They went back to Tallahassee to change the grade level because they were so impressed with him. The kid's making $2,000 less a year than what I am now. And I was like, that's pretty impressive.
Big bucks.
No animosity or anything like that. I'm proud of him.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, well, you come here and do my job. He's like, I don't want your job.
Well, see, we grew up and we were blessed because our teachers, we would leave and we'd go to Daytona for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And it was passed by the principal from junior high school and high school that we got our homework. So when we would come home from school, Katie made us do our homework first. And then we could go out and work on the race car and get to the next race and things like that. But it was very important for her to make sure that we did not miss out on what everybody else was learning while we were up underneath the race car trying to, run, 200 miles an hour and get cereal and milk for, the next week.
Yeah, wow.
But
amazing.
let's say something that me and Stoney are the first two to graduate from high school from our family tree, from my mama's side of the family.
Oh, how about that?
And we all graduated together.
Yeah.
Joe was the first one to graduate with us.
Well, I was.
So,
I was hitting on the principal's daughter. I got a garage pass.
there
Well,
you go.
wait a minute, because you used to play football in high school. And
Yeah, I looked a whole lot better with my afro with a football helmet on for the class picture. Yeah,
but you still have the record for at North Meck, right? For kicking what, a 40-yard field goal, or was it 60?
I borrowed a shoe for it.
Oh, yeah.
It was a steel-toed boot that I kicked the field goal with.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how.
What school was that?
I do want to say, it's North Mecklenburg, and I want to say one thing that
North Mecklenburg rules.
North Mecklenburg Vikings, the thing was that if you had the good grades, the law says you have to be there so many days.
Okay.
Yeah.
But there is a caveat in the law that says, regardless of the number of days you have, if you are working for a family business, if it's a farm, if it's a family thing, you do not have to make those days. You just have to make those grades.
Okay, and that rule goes way back in time.
Way
I'm
back.
sure.
See, that was
1800s.
grandfathered in, and that's what allowed us to be able to graduate.
Yeah. Joe Hunt, or Principal Hunt,
Yeah.
you know, he actually he talked to all of our teachers, and like if we had to leave from Charlotte and go out to Riverside, you know, California, it'd be a 2-week trip, and you stop in Texas or whatever.
Yeah.
He made it precise that we had to have our 2 weeks homework in advance.
We do our homework.
We do our homework on the ride trip
We
and everything
legally
like
didn't
that.
have the days.
Oh,
Yeah. We
okay.
average missing something like, I think the last 4 years of school, we averaged missing 56 days.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
man.
you couldn't miss
And
that.
truant officers actually came out there, and I could tell you a story about that, but we're on microphone.
Yes.
And I'm like,
You're not gonna do it.
but either way, we won.
Yes, you got it.
We ended up winning.
There was a loophole
That's
in
awesome.
it, grandfathered in. So
Yeah,
that's how we got. That's how
they
we
had
got our
state
first
troopers
two.
and stuff out there, and then when they seen Dad's race
Graduate.
car, they wanted their pictures taken with Dad and stuff, and the truant officers sitting over there like, what is going on?
Oh. Oh my gosh, that's awesome. Bryson, did you have a comment over there?
I actually did. John Bryan says that Joey Knuckles is his hero, so he says hello. And Jim
John
Dooley is also
Joey's
tuned
a
in
lot of
as
people's
well.
hero.
And then bear with me here as I try to pronounce this, but it's this YouTube, and you know that on YouTube it's not Facebook. It's easy because it's always their name, but on YouTube sometimes they have like a username or whatever, so it's a little bit difficult.
Right.
So this username is Jinkzim. Okay, so it says Stoney is a great asset for the district, and he goes above and beyond for his students, and they say thank you. So I'm sorry if I absolutely butchered that. And then Christy Clark just sent one in as I'm speaking here. It says teachers like Mr. Ballard are integral to the success of students who may not be going to a traditional college, but will come out of high school with skills to be able to earn a living. So
Thanks,
that's
Chris.
coming in as we speak here.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah,
Love you all.
Yeah, very good. Thank
That's
y'all for
awesome.
that.
Thank you.
Awesome. So, we were going to have the caller, but I don't know if he's going to call in or not. You know, if he don't, maybe he'll call in next week. But
No, that's fine.
I sent him a message, and we're waiting to hear back from him. So, yeah, maybe he forgot. You know, it happens. You know, I mean, I guess if
He's out stealing parts and cussing somebody out.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. You know, Clint, if he's anything like Clint, he might have forgot, right?
Well, I'd like to give a shout out to John Bryant. I was able to have him as jackman for us for like 4 years, and I put Jeff Hamm and Jeff Clark and him, you know, right there. That you know, they made the sacrifice in the gym. Were able to be one of the first ones to use a 1.5 pump to 1 pump jack.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
And it just put us, you know, the easiest place to pass a car is on pit road.
Exactly.
And you know, Clint will tell you, you know, it's you know, I would live for Sunday and the pit crew race at Rockingham, because that's really all I ever wanted to do.
Yeah. Exactly. I know.
And I did it.
No doubt.
I did it very well for going on 30 years, and I'd give anything if I could go, do it again. And they keep telling me, man, come on, try out with this one lug nut.
Mm-hmm. I know, right?
They're indexing tires and all that, but I'm fine being over the brakes and stuff for a lot of organizations throughout this country and the world.
The thing is, if you're at Talladega and I beat you out of the pits by 1 second, I got 100 yards on you on a racetrack.
Yeah. That's true.
That's it. Now, I'm going to tell you something about when he's talking about Jeff. Back then, when Jeff had the jack, it was the old style jack. It was as heavy as that's
the one you drag down the street at nighttime at 3 o'clock in the morning to wake all the neighbors up.
75 pounds.
Yeah. The thing is, here's the deal. The bottom of the rail had a stop on it about that high. So if that jack didn't come all the way off and didn't drop fast enough, that little bucket would catch that little spool, right, little thing right there. And it did one time for Jeff.
Oh, man.
Let me tell you.
The driver took off.
Now,
You want to see people flying in the air?
Stoney.
What?
Ruined it.
Go ahead and tell him.
Because it was funny when you were talking, you reminded me of it yesterday. And I laughed so hard when you told it to me. I'll let you finish it because.
That's all right.
So what happened? I didn't ever see this.
Yeah, it was in Martinsville, and back then they didn't have a pit wall.
Yeah.
They had a pit pipe.
Yeah.
With pipe going down, stopping. All right, so we come back. He changed his tire. We come back in, and I think it was Marvin or somebody, Marv Atkins may have, and he looks around and goes, Jeff, where's the jack at? I look down like this, and it's going up. The handle and the jack is like this, and it's taking people out as it's going down pit road. And I said, Marv, I think I found our jack.
Yes.
I think I found our jack.
With the car.
Action.
They stopped him at the end of pit road, and we got our jack back.
Oh, how about that? Yeah, I used to take my jack, the plate, and I put it in. I was working in a machine shop, and I just cut it all around there to where it wouldn't actually catch. It's a little bit of a ramp too.
Yeah.
And it gave me more area to be able to hit the stop too, because I was less likely for it. I didn't want it to fall off of the stop because sometimes the car would roll. It puts it in gear or something, and it's like, whoa. Yeah. But I was also my mentors, Jeff Clark and John Bryan. I worked with him in the dealership there on Independence Boulevard, and he got the call from Ricky Rudd to come and be full time in parts room over there, and then be the jack man for Ricky. So I was like, you know what, I want to be a jack man. I started going to the gym every morning and this kind of stuff. Somebody would ask me. I was like 6'1.5", and they're like, some of the other jackmen were a lot bigger than me. Yeah. I was 210 pounds, and they'd say, well, how are you jacking a car? You don't look very big. And I just do like that right there, and my arms are really big, And so I was like, yeah, that's right. That's big. But
ladies and gentlemen of the audience, it is very large.
Yeah.
It's like on call a vet. These puppies.
It's like a bowling ball. I have to carry around. These bowling balls on my arm. I'm just kidding. Just kidding. But Jeff Clark was he was the pristine, perfect image of a jackman. Right. The height, he could just step over the front of the car and he's on the other side. But Jeff Clark did tell me one time though. I said, Jeff, I wasn't as good as you. I mean, I tried to be as good as you. He's like, you know what? You were faster than me because you had shorter legs, I guess. And they could go. That's what he told me. He's just a modest guy. So anyway,
he's a great guy. I love him. Man, I love Jeff.
Yeah, that's when you get focused in on something. Sure. If you focus in on it, you make it correct, you're pristine with it, and then you teach others.
That's right.
And that's the way you do it.
Yeah. So John Bryan was a left-handed jackman.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. A lot of people don't realize that there's not been very many of those, actually. Mm-hmm. As many left-handers.
John was Carolyn Rudd's brother, and she was over the Tide sponsorship for everything that they did throughout the country, and got that deal for Ricky, and got him over there to try out. And Jeff Clark had left to go to work for Mr. Penske, and we were able to get him over there on our side, and I put him in charge of the parts and everything like that. But yeah, I mean, he was an animal. Every breath he took was going across pit wall, and Clint would go across pit wall and he would pull the trigger and it'd be whee, Well, Jeff would dive off pit road and just start screaming and hollering and all that. You could hear him over the. So the first pit stop that we had at pit practice, I thought he was having an epileptic seizure or something. I didn't know what we needed to do this.
Is this with Davey?
The animal.
This is with Ernie after we lost Davey. Yeah. Remember we had Larry If, his brother, with us.
I remember Joey standing up on pit wall though. Joey would be standing over here.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I still have that gun.
He would whip that hose.
That's what you said.
I would have to say one thing that Robert Yates clocked me stand on the right-hand side during pit practice. I'd go from left side to right side, take the tire off, put the tire on 6.8 seconds, 6.9 seconds.
Mm-hmm. How about that?
Oh, yeah, you got to practice.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It's a little bit slow to me.
Better get some more practice, boy. No, it really ain't good. Yeah.
You got a great show, and you got a great fan following here. Your listeners are definitely following you, and you have some very good, interesting people that come throughout your show. You know, we keep up with it and all, and you know, we need more people like you that can, you know, bring the history, you know, to the sport and things like that.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. I love it. I love the stories.
Oh, yeah. Just like that's what.
Keeping it alive.
Yeah.
And bringing stuff back to life, you know, is the other thing.
Yeah. How'd you get here?
Because these stories y'all are telling, there's stuff that people would never hear.
Yeah, exactly.
Now they're hearing them.
Sometimes these people go to races and they see the flash and the
The
lights
bling
and the
and
bling and
everything.
everything. But I think it adds value to know the story, the history, the basis of why this place got to be to this place, how this race and stuff get together. Yeah. And if it gets to, and there's just a tremendous amount of love that's built into history.
Mm-hmm.
That's more value than the bling.
It's kind of like, let's say a movie. You see the movie, if you see the finished product, but you don't see the behind the scenes, how many takes and this kind of stuff. Like in racing, we get there early in the morning, and then it's like a whole day goes by before the race even starts. Yeah. And then when the race starts, it's like you have the race.
Exactly.
And then after the race, they're only seeing what's on TV from the beginning of the race to the end of the race.
You don't know how you got there. You don't know what happens after that. You get to see what you paid for.
Yeah.
But as far as what we paid for to get for you to see that, then that's what you're missing.
And then you got the 7-8 hours to tear everything down, put the motor out, to have it checked out, have the pistons, make sure that you're legal, put everything back together, load the truck up, get Dover, Delaware, get everything, and then drive 13 hours from Dover, Delaware back to Charlotte, North Carolina.
Sure, right, yes. And speaking of John and Brian, we would have to wait on airplane a lot of times for John and Brian to come. Brian Clark.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they were over there. Yeah.
Brian is really good.
Tire
carrier.
The worst time. Yes. I hope I don't say this wrong, but the worst day after winning a race was with us at the Budweiser 500 with Davey Allison up in Dover, Delaware. Okay, you win the Budweiser 500. What do you think is going to happen after the race?
Oh, you're going to get some beer, free beer?
Oh, you get Budweiser.
Yes.
Yeah. So, okay, well, after the tear down and everything like that, we get on the small hop, and I think with it was I'll remember it in a minute. Anyway, it was two crews that were on this one small charter plane flying back to Charlotte.
What we call puddle jumpers.
Yeah. Yes. And everybody's all bearded up and everything like that. So we get on there. There's no bathroom in there. So we have to ride all the way back to Charlotte. Everybody's holding their bladder, and everybody's like, "Oh my God!" So I wish I had a camera of it, because everybody who got off of that plane went straight up to the fences about like 2:00 in the morning, and there's two different team shirts oscillating, and everybody's relieving themselves.
To redeem that, one thing that while we were tearing everything down and doing all that stuff, Davey Allison had walked up across the racetrack. He walked up into the stands, and he sat up in the stands, and he signed autographs for everybody out there.
Wow.
Right out of Victory Lane.
Right out of Victory Lane. He walked right up there. He sat down, and I'm going to tell you, I've never been more proud.
For a couple
never been
hours.
more proud of a driver to walk up there for free, because they get paid thousands of dollars to sit there for a few hours to sign autographs. And he walked up in them stands, and he was sitting up there until we got the car and they ready to go, out so we can go to the airport and stuff.
Wow.
He was still sitting up there with us.
You know, we can sit there and understand how and why we grew up. But the biggest thing, the thrill that we had, was being able to go to Victory Lane together after our little independent race team. You know, we just couldn't find money.
Yeah.
And we had to split up. Stoney went and joined the service. Clint went and opened up a gas station, and I went to work for Billy Hagan with Terry Labonte, and we won the Southern 500 in 1980. But we always wanted to see what was going on in Victory Lane. So we fell out of a race at Darlington, and David Pearson won, and we were up against the fence and watched him pull up in the Victory Lane or whatever. And we looked at each other and says, "Look, this is why we're killing ourselves." You know, I mean, they were, you know, they were giving tools away, SK tools. They were, you know, the trophies, the all that, and the crowd just going absolutely crazy, and you know, and the team with the driver getting their picture made. And we got to experience that together in 1987 twice with Davey. And should have won about 5 more races that year.
You got to do it with Bill Elliott.
Leading.
We did with Bill Elliott.
Yeah.
You remember? Got Freddie Wilson, Jack Force, and me and you. We kept getting on him about getting the car up.
When Michael Rich got hurt, when he passed away, and Butch Stevens, you know, Ford got us to come and pit that car for that race, and that was
a blessing for.
It was a hodgepodge crew that actually worked together, because it's like you say, everybody on pit road is a family. They threw this group together, which me, Clint, Joey, Danny, Freddie Wilson.
What else?
What else?
Yeah, and it's you know, it's actually on your podcast, that picture of all of us in the cores. That's when they threw us together, and we actually won that race. Because we were a team from different teams, but we all came together.
We're all family, so
and,
that's
you know, you get focused.
We kept getting on Freddie, get it up, get that car up, get that car up. Come on, we can get that car
after
up.
he figured it out, it was like
we were
boom.
knocking it out. We were knocking it out, and we beat Earnhardt. And Earnhardt told me, he said, I never forgot that y'all beat us out the pits, the last pit stop, and won that race.
He ended up winning the championship, but we won the race.
We won the race in Atlanta. Because he told me, I never forgot that y'all beat us out last pit stop and won the damn race.
How about that? So tell us about the 1987 race at Talladega when y'all jumped on the car.
Oh,
and you did Superman.
That was after Bobby tore the whole fence down, and we had to wait 3-4 hours.
So we
tore the whole front stretch fence off.
So we go down to the paddock down there behind the scoring stand and the start-finish line, because the Allisons, they would all cook for everybody.
And they cook.
So Bobby, he's sitting over there, and, you know, so he's, man, I'm okay. You know, I thought I had a chance. You know, he's sitting there, you know, telling us, hey, y'all got this thing in the bag. Y'all sucking the guts out of Bill Elliott. You just play smart with him and keep him in tow. And so we look over there, and Bobby just, you know, survived this big flaming crash, and he's over there about to choke to death on his mama's banana pudding, and they had to do the Heimlich on him over there. So that was quite a day, you know. Fortunately, nobody got seriously hurt in the grandstands, and we went to Daytona and sat on the pole, but they gave everybody a 390 carburetor. And then I messed up in the second race and called 4 tires, which had won us the first race, and we finished second in the final one. And then they went to restrictor plate in 88. Because they just couldn't police the 390 carburetor.
Okay. Back at the original question, you know, how did Superman become?
Well, and tell us about it.
No, it's like when Davey won the race.
Won the race.
Because Bill Elliott set the world speed record there, you know, 213 miles an hour. We were second. So, but our car was set up so hot and so good that when we got into fresh air, the car would just roll off. So, Bobby tore the fence down. We had to wait to get that repaired. So everybody got refreshed. We all joking around and stuff like that. And so, everybody was so pumped up. We were so high on adrenaline.
Yeah.
It's like, we got this. And then when Davey come out of, turn forward, it's like, we got it. And our adrenaline it felt like it was blowing out of our hearts.
Sure.
So when Davey come down pit road, first thing I thought was, I'm riding this thing and said, I'm too tired now.
Yeah.
So I jump on, Clint jumps on, Joey, the whole crew, everybody starts piling
jumps on the backside. I mean, everybody's
piling on, and Davey takes off, and I'm just like this.
It's like the first time.
I was like, man, I'm flying now. I get to go as fast as you
everybody
can.
jumped on the race car and rode it in the victory
But guess who
lane.
got to pay for it?
Yeah.
Joey had to pay the bill for it.
Yeah. Dick
they fined
Beatty.
every one of us.
When
but
we were
he paid
signing in at the Winston, the next race that we went to at Charlotte, I got a fine for $700, and he says, "Look, you got to pay this before you get in the garage."
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And I might have had $4 on me.
Okay.
And but he says, but here's the good point. You won mechanic of the race, so here's $500, and we'll cash this for you. So it took me about 30 minutes of borrowing money to where I could get in the garage, and they were serious about that. And I said, Harry, can you help me out on this? Nope, I don't help out on fines. Driver, crew chief, I don't.
That's not my ticket.
Harry Ranier.
What a great man Harry was.
Ranier and JT Lundy.
Wow.
Man, he would just let you do your job and hug you and support you.
Him and JT Lundy.
If you got a problem, don't bother me.
Yeah.
They own that Ali Sheba, the horse race, the horse Triple Crown winner.
Oh yeah.
Secretariat.
No, they own Ali Sheba.
Yeah, Ali Sheba.
So that was
the one back in
Calumet Farms.
Yeah, Calumet.
Now, Joey, was that when you were crew chiefing for the
28? Yeah. When Cale came to us, I got the Ballards and some people to finish the year out with Cale, and then we got Davey to drive for us.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got
Then Robert Yates come in.
Robert came in there and
ended up buying the team next year.
Yeah.
He got a five.
So I left and became the crew chief for a little team with Mickey Gibbs, and then came back and was a crew chief for Buddy Baker through the end of the end of '88, and then Robert got the deal and says, "Hey man, you kind of need to come back." Well, Clint was already changing tires, and then Stoney was running his own business and somewhere, so we couldn't. We couldn't.
Morgan McClure.
We couldn't get the pack back together.
Yeah. So I was with Morgan McClure.
Yeah.
And with Rick Wilson, and he broke his foot at Richmond. The first race I pitted for him. We finished like 5th or 6th, but he got in a wreck. Jerry Punch had to pick him up. We took him to the hospital because he broke his foot after that at that racetrack. But you, the one that told me, hey, Tony Glover. And,
Tony, man, I love that guy.
And Morgan McClure wanted to find
talk to you.
Help.
Yeah.
And so I went over and changed tires for them, and I said, how'd I do? And Tony says, well, man, you got a job as long as you want a job. I said, no. I said, I got a job as long as somebody don't beat me.
His voice doesn't project as good as yours does.
Yeah. So you're fine.
I'm a high school teacher.
So if somebody beats me, then put somebody else in there.
Yeah.
So that's when I went back to work. I went to work for Morgan McClure.
I used to love Tony.
The thing is, that was really funny was next week we went to Talladega, and we pitted and changed tires, and Larry McClure says, "What do you think we need to do to increase the ability of this crew to get better?" I said, "We need a jack man." I said, "We need to fire a jack man." Little did I know the jack man was his brother.
Oh
no!
That was Jerry McClure.
Oh man!
Oh,
that's not good.
But to his credit, he went back to the shop and he worked night and day to be a better jack man.
Okay.
And when he came back to the race next time, he'd get that car up in there because he wanted to be in victory lane too, just like the rest of us.
Yeah.
He wanted to be in victory. He wanted to be in victory. He wanted to be part of that deal. But You know, he just needed somebody to tell him, you're going to have to get better.
He needed that little kick in the rear.
Yeah. If you're going to win.
Yeah, you got a
I didn't know I was firing. I didn't know I was firing a car on his brother.
All right, I'm gonna backtrack just a little bit, and then we're gonna go over some of these stories. But y'all grew up in Charlotte, right? North Charlotte,
yes.
North area. Okay, I was over on the west side. I went to Harding High School.
Yeah. God bless you.
Yeah, I know, right? My wife went to West Met.
I dated a girl from there.
Yes.
Not long.
Oh, not very long. Yes. So anyway, that's North Mex. So that goes through your childhood. That's good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Because we got a lot
through with that.
Yes. But y'all, where'd y'all go to? Where part of town? I mean, I know what part of town you lived in, but y'all were in Derrida area.
Yeah, Derrida, right there where Metrolina Fairgrounds, the Speedway.
Okay.
About 2 miles north of that.
All right.
When we moved out there, it was country, nothing but country.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Now it's like,
remember those days?
Where do you find country these days?
I remember when Huntersville was country. It was like back then.
They had one stoplight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. So tell us about the Junior Johnson and something about 2 airplanes. Remember that story? So I wrote down some stuff when I was talking to you on the phone, Stoney. And so to think about that one then. But also this one about ripping the top off of a camper or something about Bill Elliott.
That's these two.
Yeah. That's
these two right here.
That was Atlanta.
That's in Atlanta when we pitted for Bill Elliott.
Yes.
You know, I was asleep. These two guys.
Oh, he passed out. He wasn't asleep.
No. But they decided to take the motor home. You know, Mom and Dad were up in their motel room. I'm in my motel room.
Borrowed the motel.
About 4 o'clock in the morning, Dad's sitting there banging on my door. What'd you do to my camper? And I was like, what? I've been asleep.
We took it to the.
They said, no, Clint and Joey said you took it out and you ripped the AC system off of the top of it.
It's laying in the middle, banging in the ceiling.
No, they sitting there, threw the thing back in there and left it. And they told Dad that I did it. Thank you guys for that. And then Dad went and talked to them, and they said they finally admitted it.
Yeah.
So I think that was the last time we used that camper.
No more AC.
No more AC.
We went out to party with at the hotel lobby, but the thing is that we went to where you park at. Parking deck.
Mm-hmm.
All right. The height was too low.
Wait a minute. You took a camper and a parking deck?
We took a camper and a parking deck. Joey's driving. We're whipping through this. Man, it's getting late, man. The girls, whatever. And so he's whipping it through the parking deck and bam! Ripped the whole top of the air seat off the top. And we had to pick it back up, stick it back in the hole.
Stick it back in the hole.
I knew we hit hard when the windshield wipers went this way from the windshield.
Getting back to the 2 airplanes, that was my model airplanes because I used to be, really big into model airplanes. It had this Cox 029, little P-51 Mustang. I'd sit there and take it out like Talladega or Bristol or Darlington, fill it up and just fly it and go about, 50 to 100 yards and stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
It's, my off time. So Junior comes by there one time. This is Junior Johnson. And he said, hey, Stoney, what are you doing? I said, I'm flying my airplane. He sits there and watched it one time. I said, you want some good gas for that? I was like, yeah, I want some good gas for it. So he goes back to his motor coach or whatever, and he comes back and he mixes up with the oil and stuff like that. Yeah. He said, don't tell your mom and daddy about this. Has this jug, clear liquid. And he said, whatever you do, don't drink it. He showed me how to mix it and stuff like that. So he cranks it up, and there's a blue flame coming out of it like this. And I'm like, oh, what is this? And he throws it like that. And he goes, way over fourth turn.
Gone.
And I'm looking at it, and he's like, sorry about your luck, kid. so I'm like, what the heck just happened? He said, don't tell your mom and dad what happened. So a couple of races later, I think we was at Talladega at that time, he brings me this P-51 Mustang. It was about a wingspan of this size, 3 times of what I had.
Yeah.
Showed me how to mix it up. Yeah, it was Talladega because I still have his recipe on the back of it where he signed it.
Yeah.
He said, mix your stuff up like this. He said, this ain't corn liquor. This ain't nothing like that because we can get in trouble with it. He said, but if you want to make it, just follow this recipe. So every time after that, he said, this is special fuel. That's all it is special fuel. He said, if you need some, let me know. Wow. And then when I got older, Clyde Lynn, another good friend of ours, he used to work, run out of Virginia. had a scrapyard and stuff, which is another good story I need to tell you real quick if we have time.
Yeah.
But either way, Junior gave me that, and we became real good friends with that. And I can't tell you what the recipe is, but that fuel still works.
Oh, it does. Okay.
So, but speaking of Clyde Lynn, because he always has some special fuel too. And Clyde, Mom and Dad would always throw parties, like when Marty Robbins and stuff would come down. Clyde would come down. And they would actually bring frames and stuff like that, or if Dad needed a part. Because he raced, I think, number 70, and he raced about 3 different numbers. He was actually Rookie of the Year.
Clyde bought him a lot of tires.
Yeah.
He bought us a lot of tires.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But he came down one weekend to a party. It was on a Saturday. I don't think you were there, Joey, but me, Clint, and Danny were. We were still outside playing. But they was, having fun, doing adult stuff
hammered.
at the time. Yeah, they were definitely tanked up. But Dad come out of the house and said, hey, listen, Clyde's getting ready to leave. He doesn't need to be driving. He said, go get the jack the rear tires up off of the ground for about like 3/4 of an inch. So we jacked it up like that. And Clyde, he staggers out there a little bit. What you're going to do when you're, having fun. He cranks it up, puts it in reverse, goes, puts it in drive, goes, and he gets out of the car and he says, Walter, I think my transmission's blown up. And Dad said, don't worry, Clint, Danny, and Stoney will overhaul it for you tonight, and they'll be ready to go in the morning. So they take him back inside, lay him on the couch, cover him up and everything like that. He's
Pull
good.
it in the garage.
So
Check it out.
next morning he gets up, and we're all up. We're just laughing because we can't believe what just happened.
Yeah.
So he gets in the car, he puts it in reverse, goes in gear, and he takes off and goes down the driveway. Drives around for about 10 minutes. About 10 minutes, he comes back up.
Yeah.
This transmission.
And it's like, he said, this transmission never worked this great in my life. And gave all of us $50.
Oh, give us $50 a piece for it.
And Dad, he's like, you got some heckacious boys right here. He said, gives us $50. And we're looking at Dad, can we take the money? Dad's like, I can't lie to him.
Oh my gosh.
So it was like, we never said that, but yeah, Clyde Lynn, him and his family were always great friends.
All right, so what about this rental car with Joe Dan and Joey,
gosh.
and
I'm
Joey,
gonna let y'all take over on that one.
Yeah.
Joey Nuffus? You remember that, Joey?
Yeah, it was Atlanta, and we had the rental car, and Joe Dan was working for H.B. Bailey, and we had we had the rental car, and we decided to get on the racetrack and run the rental cars around like we had before.
Yeah.
But in any case, Joe Dan was in the car. We were in the car. He goes into 3 and 4 at Atlanta. Starts scraping the wall, and it scrapes the right side pretty much off of it. But it's still drivable.
Oh, yeah.
So we take it back to the rental car place, and we're all laughing, cutting up about it. And lady said, anything to report or anything? Oh, yeah, we didn't tore the whole right side off it.
Oh my gosh.
The lady thought we was kidding. She
Yes.
thought she was kidding. Nobody said anything about it. She thought we was kidding until HB got the bill. Got the bill for the whole rental car.
Yes.
They made HB pay for the whole rental car. So you could either pay this, which was
Had to buy the whole
right-hand
car.
side.
And there he is.
So he said it's cheaper for me to just go ahead and buy the whole car.
Buy the whole car.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
Because HB
What you think about that, Bryson?
3 salvage yards down in Texas. Yeah.
I wish Joe Dan was here so he could tell you the story.
Yeah.
He was the one turning the wheel.
So Joe Dan was HB's son.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
He actually tried to drive a little bit, but that didn't kind of plan out.
He runs all the electronics for Toyota now.
He's got a great job.
He's definitely.
Oh, yeah.
He's in charge of all the Toyota stuff up top where he does all the computer work.
He actually
and stuff.
lives right down the street.
TDR, yeah. He actually he jogs down through here every morning.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, we got to get him by here.
Yeah, definitely. That'd be cool.
He could get you all up to speed on what all Toyota's getting ready to do and things like
they got
that.
some
With the
big
new car
plans
style.
coming up. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
New car.
That sounds good. And let's see, which one should we go to next? I'm going to your list finally. We're just now getting to that.
I don't know if you want to do that.
How about a Dover skate rink?
Oh, Dover. That's when me, Clint, Danny, Joey, and Robbie went skating, because, Dover, Delaware, there's hardly nothing to do at that time. They had a skating ring down there, and, we just got through qualifying and everything like that. And we went to the skating ring, skating, and Robbie Etters, which I never knew. The guy is fantastic at skating. Skate sideways, backwards, whatever.
I forgot about that. Yeah, he was really good.
This guy he can cut a leg. So
he and Morgan Shepherd went together, maybe.
Huh?
He and Morgan Shepherd used to skate together or something, maybe. I don't know. Yeah, you seen Morgan Shepherd back in the day.
Oh, yeah. He was skating all over the place.
Yeah, we tried to hire Morgan Shepherd one time.
Yeah, but anyway.
Never cleared it.
We was, not hitting on all the women, but we weren't locals.
Yeah.
So all these guys are looking at us like, he's talking to our women, because we were young, good looking. Nobody can deny all this.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
We had to,
especially with that shirt on. Right now,
especially with the nice shirt on.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go. Come on, give it a little that.
That's awesome, man.
Give it a
little shoulder. Oh, who did that? Oh,
that's some whistling going on in some spectators. Yes.
So we were leaving this time to go and everything like that. So we were leaving, then all of a sudden there's like these 5 guys following us. And I was like, look behind. I was like, okay, well, I don't know them. So I was telling Joey and Clint, I said, well, let's go walk across the street. So we walked across the street, and they walked across the street. And I was like, these guys got some ill repute coming in playing.
Yeah.
I said, what is this medieval witchery that they're thinking? So I was like, okay, well, let's cross the street again. They crossed the street again. I was like, okay, well, let's go. If they want trouble, let's go give them trouble. I said, hey, Clint, Joey, Robbie, let's go after them. Let's ask them what they want. We turned around and we started running for them, and they dissipated like roaches when you turn the light on.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, well, I guess we're good. So we went back home. But it's like, always face your fears.
Yeah.
So we went after them, and no fear there.
That was it.
Yeah, that was it. I always thought it was funny, though. It's like, don't be afraid of anything. Go after it.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Yeah.
Well, Clyde Lynn party.
Oh, that was Clyde Lynn when we jacked his car up and stuff like that. Yeah,
that was it already.
Yeah, that was it. That's.
Yeah. What about Mom's coin box?
Oh, that was a good one. Forgot about that one. We were late getting to Martinsville one time. Mom had all the. She used to have this Samsonite. It was a little blue Samsonite case that she had all her coins and stuff in. She used to collect coins. Back in the day, you always had extra money or coins or whatever you had so you could make it to the next racetrack.
Green.
So if there's any foreign coins or anything, blue screen box?
No, just, like silver coins and stuff like that so you can cash it in to get gas or whatever.
Oh, that, okay.
There were high dollar coins. Had the suitcase and stuff in there, and got to Martinsville, got there late, and it was time for practice. Dad unloaded the car. All of our suitcases still in the trunk of the race car because you had limited room. Yeah. So you put everything in the trunk of the race car. Dad goes out there and practice and hears all this banging and stuff, thought he broke a shock or something like that. Almost sets on the pole with his qualifying or his speed time.
And had our luggage in the trunk.
Yeah, had our luggage in the trunk, and he gets out and the coins were all over the place. We were finding coins for about 2 or 3 months after that. But he said that's the best hit that car's ever handled. And he's like, throw that stuff back in there so I can get some more speed.
Oh, my gosh. So he had to go across the scales and all, right?
Yeah. Because he was running heavy, but everything in there.
They didn't care about heavy.
Yeah.
They only cared about light.
Yeah, exactly. But all the coins, Mom was screaming at him. It was like, oh.
Yeah.
We went to Darlington one time, and the truck broke down about 5 or 6 miles away from the racetrack. So we had to get there to get in. So we unloaded the race car, and Dad drove the race car down the highway to get to Darlington so we could get in there. And then left the car out there, and then we got to ride back.
That wasn't the same time somebody come and rebuilt the carburetor, was it? Okay.
No.
That was another time.
That
was last week. That was another show that came up. Anyway, I have flashbacks.
This is one week. Me and Dad unloaded it, and me and him rode the race car down. We just left the truck there on the side of the road.
Yeah.
And riding the race car all the way back.
It was like that time when we bought that the crew cab from the Woods Brothers. Their car hauler.
Yeah.
And we was proud of that thing. We thought we was big time when we got that. Had places to put your engine, your tires, and stuff like that. And it was probably about a year after that, broke the camshaft in the engine off the 427. You know, it was hauling it. Well, it so happens that we were running the 427 in the race car. Dad takes, we back the race car off, take the camshaft out, put it back into the truck, drive the truck and all the rig back to the racetrack where we can get there. Took it back out, put it back in the race car, and had Mom go down to the Ford dealership and get another camshaft so we can get the truck running. I mean, that's the stuff we had to go through, to make a race.
Sure.
I mean, it's like, back then, like when you had a camshaft, you can change your valve settings from 1.5 to 1.6, or your rocker arm settings.
Yeah.
And you can change your rocker arms. You know all about this. So you can change your rocker arms, use the same change your camshaft, rocker arms, and use it at Talladega, and then you could change your ratio up to go back to running a short track.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's right.
That was a cheap way to do it.
It was.
And it worked. You finish in the top 10.
Yeah.
Wasn't being a top 1 car, but
seen some spring shims and.
Yep. Exactly. Set that spring ratio.
Yep. That's right. Great. So what about playing? All right. So Atlanta, playing a guitar at a race before at church.
Yeah, that's when when I started playing the guitar and stuff like that. I got decent enough. I had a little band with Tim Sins and Mike Nichols, and it's kind of funny at the time, but our name was the Wizards of Time. It was cool back then. It was a cool name. It was rocking on. Yeah. But we would practice church songs, and Tim and Mike and Clint would sing. Lees'a would sing. So we'd always, when they had the church procession, we'd always open up. Linda Petty, and the Allisons. Everybody were there. All the moms.
Yep.
And we'd always play before church started. So that kind of like broke my ice out to start talking and speaking and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea what we sounded like then, but back then we sounded good.
I bet you sounded really good. I bet.
Sounded better than nobody.
Yes. What about what's this Tommy and the Two Tones?
Oh,
music?
Tommy and the Two Tones, Nashville, Tennessee.
Yeah.
That's when Dad was still in his rookie year, and he would go to like track to track. Dad would want to sit down and have his VO and ice and whatever. So he would try to meet people at these bars to help pit. So he met this band called Tommy and the Two Tones. So he talked them all into coming in to pit him at Nashville. So we got them all in the pits and everything like that. And the guys were still hungover. I think Dad was still a little bit hungover. He would come into pits and said, "Change the tires." And they were looking at these, 4-ways. And they were like, "With this?"
Yeah.
And Dad would have to get out of the car, show them what to do. And when they did it, Dad would get back out of the car, make sure everything was tight and stuff. I was like, "What are you guys here for?" But Tommy and the Two Tones, I'll never forget them because Dad still has pictures of them someplace, and they're sitting there looking around like, what do I do? But
yeah, that's awesome. So Bill Blair was saying it was good to see Joey again. I met him when he worked at Billy Hagan's, enjoying the show. Mr. Bill Blair.
Yeah,
Bill does an exceptional job up there at Mount Airy in the big show that he has, and it seems like every year I'm not able to go there for work, constraints or whatever, but I'm gonna try my best to get up there. He was our engine man at Hagan Racing in '80 and '81, and did a fabulous job.
Yeah.
A fabulous job, and a great gentleman.
Awesome guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he is. Every time he calls, he called me yesterday, and we just sit and talk. I could talk to him for hours.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He's got some good stories.
Yeah.
Yeah, he sure does.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And Bryson, did you have any more comments over there?
Well, Scott Trevison and Random Epic are tuning in late, so I want to say hey to them. And I think that's all that I've got on our streams here. So
all right. Very good.
Everybody's still hanging out, though, just quiet.
Yeah.
So.
Wake up, everybody.
There you go.
Coming to you live from
right.
92.9.
I know Joey's done some stuff
good.
for my nephew races out at Carolina Speedway and Gaffney and all that. Yeah. Well, he raced at Charlotte recently, Brandon Blair. Mm-hmm. He raced at the Charlotte race, but he didn't stick around for the main event. But
okay.
he got the experience to go out there and do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe he went up to Bristol too, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, last time they had that. And he was looking at going to Wilkesboro, but then he ended up changing things a little bit. So,
yeah. How's that Wilkesboro track coming along? I mean,
well, the last time, Bryson's I keep
up with it pretty good because it's super exciting, and I'm like, I'm a huge fan of Wilkesboro and everything that's happening. But I think it's Swift. Is it Steve Swift?
Very Swift.
Very Swift.
I'm
maybe?
sorry.
I don't know.
Different Swift.
One of the Swifts.
Different Swift.
One of those Swifts. He's up there in Wilkesboro, and he posts a lot of updates about the track.
Good.
So one of the things that I saw today actually was, and Rockingham, by the way, too, is starting a repave process. They're kind of in the middle of that right now.
Right.
But at Wilkesboro, they've dug out portions a couple feet, maybe about 1.5 feet or something away from the original wall to take the pavement out and put concrete in there to make way for the safer barrier. They're going to make that, I guess, kind of like the rest of the tracks. And they've done they did some stuff with the drainage because they've had a little bit of an issue. They said they've had an issue since the 70s with water sitting in like turn one. So they've been taking care of that, just all the things, and tearing down some buildings, rebuilding them.
I hope it ends up being real successful.
Got a lot of planning to correct it and get it fixed right.
I think it will. Every time I see a picture, I'm thinking, man, I just I want to go up there. I haven't been there since August, since the races, so I might have to ride by. But it looks like they're coming along good, and Rockingham too is another exciting one. So
me and Joey did some tire testing down in North Wilkesboro.
Yeah,
we slid some cars through there.
Yeah. Let me tell you an interesting story about North Wilkesboro, and you guys will remember this really good. But the first round of qualifying, if you ran a lap of over 100 miles an hour, you got a case of chicken.
Yeah. Oh, that's right.
Tyson from Holly Farms.
Holly Farms.
Yeah, and then Tyson ended up buying them.
Okay.
And we were always 99.99, and we'd be
998.
Oh, man.
And we would drive back and forth, But a lot of people, we knew that Junior Johnson's cars, regardless who was going to drive, was who was going to be the dominant car there.
Mm-hmm.
So they would bait all the race teams. We would show up on Friday, and Junior and Flossie had been up all night and feed us breakfast.
I know.
Every team
best biscuits
at their shop in their home, and then we would go to the racetrack, and it was a pretty decent battle for second, but you wasn't.
You weren't gonna beat that Holly Farms car.
You wasn't gonna beat them, man, and that was such an experience
because short man.
We were able to bring a lot of our kids from school because it wasn't a long distance or whatever, and Charlotte would always be so tough to be able to get some of our friends in, but Wilkesboro, they pretty much had the infield just for the race teams. It was cool.
The village is loose.
The village is loose. And me and Clint scored for Frank Warren up there one year, and we didn't do too good, did we, Clint?
I want to tell you something about scoring. Mom used to take us up there and put us scoring. Like I said, it was divided into two sections.
Yeah.
But there was one little thing that inside baseball here, that when Mom and Elmo Langley's Nancy, and Faye Negree and that kind of stuff like that, when they would short tracks, whenever the race was over, I saw them come down here, and Mom would do like this. She'd hold up 3, and I would say 3. I mean, we didn't finish third, and Nancy would say that do the same thing, and Faye would do the same thing, and some of the race car drivers, their wives would do the same thing. And I said, "What does this 3 mean?" It means I love you.
Oh, yes. Okay.
That's what holding up the 3 means. Means I love you.
Yeah.
That's what the wives were telling the drivers after the race was over.
And we said to think of, with kids, they put up 3. It's like that's Dad's number 30. So we'd always run up to the scoreboard right there and put 30 as number 1.
Oh man, yeah, that was.
We used to always change the number.
After the race was over, we'd go up to the scoreboard, we'd flip them, and we'd put 30.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
How can we finish 5th place?
Yeah. And Katie would go out to registration and get paid. They would pay us at the racetrack when the race was over.
That's another thing I was going to say. We had to stand in line. The only people that got paid by check back to the place was people who had good sponsors like Richard Petty and David Parrish and stuff like that. Everybody else had to stand in line at a little hut building, looked like an outhouse, with somebody standing there, and then go over there. Everybody would line up. All the race car drivers had to line up there and stay until everybody got paid.
Carolina Speedways like that.
Yeah, exactly. Same way.
Yeah. A lot of times it was Bill France.
That was NASCAR back then.
That was doing that a lot of times. And but we were talking earlier about, fuel. We would fill the car up when the race was over, fill both of our gas tanks,
gas cans up,
fill the whole truck and everything, and then fill the station wagon up. How many miles did the station wagon have on it till we just couldn't fix it no longer?
I have no idea, but it would run like a banshee.
Went to California a bunch of times, that's for sure. It went to California a lot of times.
Get that 102 fuel in there that came.
Yeah.
We ended up, we couldn't fix it, and then we got a used Winnebago motorhome. Yep. And we were hot stuff traveling across the country.
That Winnebago one that we had is the same style that they have in six-pack.
It's six-pack. If you look at six-pack, that was our Winnebago.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I was thinking I was wondering if that was the same kind.
There's a story I want to say about that in the movie where they were where Rogers was in the Winnebago, and then the kids come in, and they were sneaking in at night, and Kenny Rogers came out, this happened. Mm-hmm. Dad, I told this to my daughter way before we watched the movie. Yeah. That me and Joey and Robbie Edders, and we were sneaking in because we've been out bowling. It was supposed to be like 10 o'clock, supposed to come home. Yeah. It was about 12 o'clock to come home. He caught us sneaking in. They stayed in the motorhome, Mom and Dad did. They give us the motel room. So we were sneaking back in the motel room. So he caught us sneaking in. He called us over there, and he chewed our butts out. Yeah. And that is in the movie. And I said, and I told my daughter about this way before it happened. But and you know what he said? He asked us what we were doing. We said, we were bowling. And dadgums, that wasn't in the movie.
So, so in the movie, they snuck out. They went and actually messed with a competitor's race car.
Yeah, competitor's car. And they said, we were bowling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
were out.
Yeah, we went bowling.
And they said, what are you doing? Why are you back 12 o'clock at night coming in? Don't y'all know you got to be up in the morning and you got to be at the racetrack at such time? Yeah. They said, we were bowling.
How about that?
We were at church.
I see.
And it was in the movie.
Yeah. Where did y'all get this new 830 carburetor?
Yeah.
We just borrowed it, Walter. I mean, we'll give it back if it don't run.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
Those are some great times.
Manny says, Clint, you ready for Thanksgiving? How will you spend the holiday?
I'm going to spend it with probably you, Manny, and my daughter, son-in-law, a lot of their friends. I'm going to go down to Lake Waterley, pick up my wife. She's in the camper down there. We're going to do a little fishing for a couple of days, and then get back up here for Thanksgiving. All right. And we'll have us a big time up there. All we always have a great Thanksgiving.
Good. Have a big feast and all that good stuff.
Sure enough. We usually try to eat prime rib or something.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Well, that sounds different.
What's your address?
I mean, hey, I'm going to do it.
It's a big white house.
Follow me now.
Okay. So, did you have any more comments there?
No, you called my last one. Well, let's see here.
Random Epics tuned in, Tim.
Yes, yeah. Random Epics tuned in, Scott Trevis. And Dickie Dennis says, I am always quiet when there is something interesting to listen to. Fabulous stories this evening. Awesome. So that's our number one fan, Dickie Dennis.
Yeah, Dickie.
Thank you.
Do y'all remember Dickie Dennis, the infamous fence climber from Richmond in 2014, the one that climbed up on the fence and stopped the race? Yeah,
that's him. Yeah.
That's our buddy Dickie.
Oh, man. Hey.
The living legend himself.
Yeah.
Tell me there ain't no good moonshine up in Richmond, man. Guy had some money on it, and he caused a caution for his driver. I mean, man, yeah. That beats throwing a beer can on the racetrack, right, or something?
Yeah, hitting Earnhardt.
Yeah.
Or throwing a seagull at him on the last lap of Daytona.
Yeah, now speaking of throwing beer cans, there was a guy sitting behind us last year at the last Martinsville race of the season when Denny Hamlin and Alex Bowman had that little get together on the front stretch.
Oh, yeah.
And this guy sitting in probably 2 rows behind me, and he was, he'd had a few that day. And he took that thing, and I didn't see him throw it, but, everybody, you saw it on TV. You could see it hit Denny Hamlin's windshield, right on the windshield. Oh. And he was probably the last person out of that place today. He was so proud. He had to tell everybody he threw that beer can. And he had his buddies around there, and it was kind of funny and cool, and, all that stuff. But it's just things like that.
I got one of those.
And I made a video of it.
Yeah, you can see it on his video.
Oh,
it's
really?
pretty neat.
I'm going to have to watch that one.
I've got one of those at Richmond, Virginia. The Virginia State Police, we were on the front stretch of the Richmond race, and they usually patrol right by the fence. Mm-hmm. And they're out there watching the race, and a beer can came by and hit one of the police officers, state men, on the back.
Yeah.
He turned around like this. He went on the walkie-talkie. The police officers turned around. Nobody said anything. Nobody said who it was. Nobody gave him up. And the police was just standing there looking at him. And all of a sudden he goes, "I did it!
Oh,
I give
no.
up." He jumped up like he gave himself up.
Oh, my
He gave
God.
himself up without even no other.
That's TV time.
He jumped up and said, "Oh my God,
It's like,
I did it."
Like when
Genius.
when TV started really getting big into NASCAR, Joey actually told me this joke a long time ago. He said,
Yeah.
"There's a wreck down at Talladega, going into turn 3. It's like, why'd you speed up?" He's like, "I wanted to get on TV."
Yeah.
I am not going to say the name of the driver because I love him, but
Oh, yeah.
With Morgan McClure, we was pitting on the backstretch because that time they changed the rules for
Darlington.
the pitting for being lapped,
Mm-hmm.
So we got the end of the Martinsville on the backstretch.
Oh, okay.
Because it made it easier to get in and out without possibly losing a lap. So we were standing up there watching all the people in the backstretch in Martinsville, and there's these people walking down to go to the bathroom, and this guy would pummel them with beer cans. Anybody that walked by,
Yeah.
boom,
Yeah.
boom. Okay, after the race was over, we're looking up, and this guy walks down, and everybody in the stands knew this guy was doing it, and everybody was nailing it.
Oh.
He was getting hammered. He didn't even care. He was just like, "Yeah, I deserve this." And he kept walking by, and everybody in the stands was just nailing him.
How about that?
Now that's NASCAR.
That's NASCAR.
Hopefully, hopefully his driver won.
Yeah.
Made it a little easier on him.
He didn't even care. So
That's awesome.
I give up.
Yes. Jim Dooley says, "Only DD, only Dickie Dennis, we love you." And Larry Lackey, of course.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he says another great show with some really interesting stories.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, thank you for
Hey,
tuning in. And
Rock
Dickie
on.
says, "Love you guys."
Yeah.
Love you too.
Hey, so y'all got? I guess we probably should wrap it up soon. I mean, it's been 2 hours almost. It's
Really?
yeah.
No, we just got
My
here.
wife was
It does
threatening
seem
to
like
cook,
it.
so I might need to go see if that really happened, or
It's called DoorDash. Get
or
used to it.
I bought a new fire extinguisher, and
You want to see if it's been
Go
used
test
yet?
it out.
Has it been used yet?
Well, yeah. I guess we should better go then. So, but thank y'all so much for coming in. Man.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Y'all be
Hey,
safe.
yeah,
Love
man.
you all too much.
Thank you for inviting us.
Yeah, thank you for inviting us, and we appreciate it. And we got more stories to come. So the book will be coming out next September.
Yes.
It's called The Telephone Book. Yeah. Oh, they don't have those anymore.
I know, right? You have to explain to your students there what the telephone book is.
Yeah. Yeah, good luck with that.
It's a good read. It's a really good read. Yeah.
PCHS rules.
Yeah, that's right, man. That's right. And what else did you want to shout out to again?
Give it to Gettle.
Yes.
They've, with them giving us and providing us some engines, they have no idea, because working in the CTE program, that's Career Technology Education, that our funds are limited because they have to split it up between automotive, ag, photograph, whatever, they have to do robotics. Mm-hmm. So we're limited, but they really partnership with us and stepped up, and right now that takes a lot of pressure off of me that I don't have to find these funds. And when Fred Bartholomew contacted me for Mr. Gettle, I really appreciate it. My students do. That you guys are really going to make this program succeed, and we're going to help you out in the long run. Yeah. So we're going to get some of these kids good jobs, good paying jobs that they can feed their family.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
So, and I appreciate you letting me give them that shout out because they deserve it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Parish Community High School, Love you. I'll see you later.
All right. Very good.
Rock on.
Awesome. Yeah. Say hey to you youngins up there, and y'all listen to your teacher, and he's going to teach you right, for sure.
Y'all sure y'all graduated? I want to see the diploma.
Which one?
I don't think I graduated, did I?
Yeah, you walked across the stage with us, Joey.
Yeah.
You got to toss the tassel.
Very good.
Yeah.
No, I mean, what really happened is, we about didn't get to go to high school because our last day at junior high, me and Clint and some of us, we went streaking through.
Yeah, we did. We
yeah,
kind of
that movie.
It does hold up right there. We don't want to tell. We don't want to get too far. That's in the weeds. We can bring that one back.
I didn't have no problem with finding a date after that.
I didn't either.
Yeah, man, all of them were guys. And all of them.
Yes. All right, y'all.
Mine were all teachers.
All right. Well, thanks again for coming in, and happy Thanksgiving to all of our friends out there.
Oh, yes, sir.
And we'll see y'all next week. We may have Ryan Vargas. I talked to him about coming in onto the show. You've heard of him. He races in the Xfinity Series. I guess it's still called Xfinity Series, right? Ryan Vargas.
Yeah.
And but he said he races on Monday evening, so we'll see. Maybe I'll do a Tuesday show instead.
Hey, we might have to. That's okay.
Yeah, that'd be cool. So, but y'all have a great, happy Thanksgiving, and we'll see y'all next Monday. And Danny, thanks Danny for tuning in. He says you're a good-looking man.
That's Danny Lawrence.
Danny Lawrence. There you go. Awesome. Yes.
Right.
Joey's looks good.
Love you guys.
See y'all. Thanks.
Thanks.
Go back here and use it.
9 WAME Statesville, Real Country.